Predator: Concrete Jungle is an action-adventure game that released back in 2005. I played it when it released but only completed a handful of missions before it went back on the shelf. The game reviewed poorly at the time, but I wanted to form my own opinion after 20 years, so I decided to play it again to find out how bad was Predator: Concrete Jungle actually. The Predator made its first appearance in the 1987 blockbuster of the same name. This saw a technologically advanced extraterrestrial stalking and hunting a paramilitary rescue team, and yes, Arnie was the main man of the movie, but we all remember the iconic scene with the late Carl Weathers, which taught us kids that biceps were important. The movie turned an idea into a franchise. Since then, there's been movies, comic books, crossovers, and even video games. You're not here for a recap on the Predator franchise though, so let's explore the premise of Concrete Jungle. The game begins in 1930 in the fictional setting of New Way City, somewhere in the United States. We take control of an injured predator that needs to get back to its ship. The predator is under attack from criminal gangs as well as police officers, but these only serve as a minor distraction. As it crosses a roof, it collapses, trapping it between the rubble. As it's facing certain death, it initiates the ship's self-destruct sequence, destroying parts of the city, but failing to kill itself. Having been defeated by the humans, the predator is exiled from its clan and left on a remote planet. However, 100 years later, the predator, now known as Scarface, has the chance to return to Earth to restore honor to its clan. That's all you need to know for now, but we'll cover the game's story in detail later in the video. I thought the graphics in Concrete Jungle were pretty good considering the game released 20 years ago. The character models for Scarface as well as enemies also look good, but there was also one huge mistake that I was constantly reminded of. Predators range between 7 to 8 feet in height, so when I'm fighting a regular human and they're the same size or taller than me, I find this hard to believe. There can only be 3 logical reasons why this would be. The first being humanity has evolved and grown freakishly tall to the point everyone is the same height as an abnormal titan. The second being, I got stuck with the world's smallest predator. Or third and finally, the devs just didn't notice. I can just imagine the conversation the devs were having at the time.
Hey Steve, how tall should we make the predator? Oh jeez, just go ahead and make him the same size as the humans.
Now this wasn't game changing, but it was hard to unsee. The cutscenes also looked fine, but I will credit the lip syncing. There are modern games that struggle to lip sync audio, but they did a great job with Concrete Jungle.
You understand me?
Si, Mistress Lucretia. Bitch.
The textures on some levels look muddy, as you're seeing a lot of the same tone with shadow effects mixed in. This results in levels looking dark, or several textures being of a similar colour. The lighting techniques used were great, whether that was red light in a laboratory, or in the open world. Missions that were in the daytime looked way better than the missions that were at night, which is the majority by the way. Textures don't suffer from the muddy effect, shadows look good, and the game played better in my opinion. I understand that the game has a dark backstory, and they wanted the levels to replicate that, resulting in a lot of darkness. This unfortunately means your screen will be covered in blacks, greys and blues that aren't the most pleasant on the eye. The visuals looked good at the time, but there were a few issues. As a comparison, Resident Evil 4 also released in 2005 and looked fantastic, so whilst the graphics were good, they weren't anywhere close to the best at the time. One aspect of the game that shined was the background music. This was composed entirely by Ian Livingstone, who went on to compose the music for the LEGO games, as well as the Total War and F1 series. And here's another fun fact. Ian created the polyphonic version of the Nokia tune. Some of you kids are probably thinking, what's a Nokia? They were prehistoric telecommunication devices used in the early 1800s. I've heard stories that archaeologists discovered fossilised 7600s from the Victorian era, but enough about the 19th century, let's get back to the game's sound design. The sound effects were also fine, whether that's the Predator screaming after ripping a skull from a body, the sound when you switch to thermal vision, or when you unsheath your wrist blade. They're the same sounds from the movie, so I am happy with that. An area of the sound design that didn't go down too well was the voice acting. Some of the voice lines' delivery was comically bad. Take this guy for example. I believe he's supposed to be a Jamaican, but he's mixed in some Arnold Schwarzenegger undertones.
See? Didn't I tell you this was a sign?
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a dev's friend reading the lines just so they could be in the credits. And check out this guy, who sounds like the least intimidating gang member I've ever seen.
Sure thing, Jefe. Los Matadores, they are here to stay.
Don't you worry about nothing, okay?
Also, I did find it funny they put a Mexican in a luchador costume. How many members of the Latin Kings or Sereños have you seen gangbanging in full luchador? Finally, there's a woman that narrates the story as well as what the Predator does. Yes, I did find it strange to begin with. It sounds as though she's narrating a nature documentary with the Predator playing, well, the role of the Predator. But she was one of the few voice actors that did a good job.
A demon who traveled with the comets, returning in the hottest seasons to hunt its favorite prey, human beings.
So far, we've established the visuals and music are good, with the voice acting letting the game down. But these are only toppings on our Concrete Jungle pizza. What matters most is the gameplay. And this is where things go downhill. The Predator has several weapons it can use throughout the game. You've got your wrist blades, the plasma caster, which is the shoulder laser, throwing mines, and a few other melee-based weapons. All the melee weapons felt the same. None seemed like they were doing more damage than the others, or any obvious reasons to use another. The control scheme as well as the combat are incredibly clunky. When performing a melee attack, if you keep pressing the same button, you'll perform a combo and get locked into an animation. Your attacks can be interrupted, and you can be knocked down. Now this isn't that big of a deal, but you can be attacked further whilst you're getting knocked down and during the wake up animation. This means your health can go from full to zero in a matter of seconds depending on who you're fighting, and to that I say what the fuck. But there's more. Concrete Jungle has the worst camera movement in any game I've played. Turning it slightly can remove Scarface from the screen and zooms in on the enemies. This gives you a strange first person perspective where you can't control the Predator effectively, and that's me putting it nicely. This isn't a one-off, lady and gents. You have to put up with this shitty camera the entire game. I was close to asking this Predator to take a seat, like Chris Hansen. The camera angle isn't helped by Scarface's 50-50 jump. There are many areas in which you'll need to platform, and it's a coin toss whether you'll grab the ledge or not, but enemies at range can interrupt your jumping and climbing animations, which gets frustrating. Concrete Jungle has 27 levels, which would make you believe it has a lot of content. Well, you'd be wrong there. These missions range from a couple of minutes long, yes, you heard me correctly, up to around 30 minutes. In each level, you'll have one story objective and a bonus task that is completely optional. The bonus missions can reward you with extra health, armor, skins as well as energy capacity, which I will touch on shortly. When you complete a level, you'll be taken to the main menu and need to select the next one. You're then transported to a completely different level, and it feels as though you've missed a vital part of the story as to why or how you got there. It reminded me of Rick and Morty's Interdimensional Cable episode 2. You know, the one with the How Did I Get Here show. Some levels use the same map in succession, which begs the question, why not have multiple objectives in one level as opposed to splitting them up? The only reason I can think of is the devs didn't know how to do this. I can only think of the conversation the devs had in the studio.
Hey boss, I think it makes sense to put 3 story objectives into one level. Nah, just go ahead and split it into 3.
The enemies at the start of the game die in practically one hit, so even though there are several of them, it doesn't matter because they hardly do any damage and die quickly. But boy, does that change the further into the game that you get. Not only do enemies roll with big numbers, but they also have laser rifles, ships, homing rockets which seem impossible to dodge at times, and perfect aim. The enemies in Concrete Jungle are the antithesis of stormtroopers because they ain't missing. They locked onto my ass across the map, which is wild because I'm the Predator. Their health pool also goes through the roof. I was shocked when I smacked some NPCs around with my giant maul, only for them to get back up. But then again, all the humans are 7 foot tall now, so I can only assume they've trained their organs to prevent internal bleeding. Before I tear into the game anymore, there were some features that I liked. Your mask can cycle through several vision modes, you've got thermal to show heat from bodies, tech highlights interaction points and xenomorphs, slight spoiler, and neurovision shows the mental state of enemies. That's 4 in total if you combine your regular vision. That shows the level of details the devs did put into the game, but it's a shame this wasn't universal. You can cloak, making you invisible. But this is useless after the first few missions. This is because enemies have tech that can see through your cloak, and even if they didn't, enemies seem to notice where I was regardless. And speaking of enemies, they would occasionally bug out, as you can see these 2 wannabe Olympians ice skating. You can view your records at the main menu, which shows all your in-game stats and collectibles gathered. Hunting gear, which displays collected weapons and upgrades. Trophies, which shows the boss skulls you've torn out, as well as bonus missions. Finally, there's ritual challenges, which are time-based obstacle courses. In terms of menu content and replayability, Concrete Jungle has a lot going on, but this begs the question, Would you want to play through the game again? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we move on and discuss the game's difficulty. Concrete Jungle has 3 difficulty settings you can choose from, in Unblooded, Youngblood and Blooded. These are essentially easy, normal and hard. Now I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, so I opted for Youngblood, aka normal difficulty. Once you've selected one, you won't be able to change it, but the difficulty you choose isn't even that big of a deal, because Concrete Jungle has a built-in hard mode no matter what. You see, my fellow donut enjoyers, I've kept the worst mechanic of this game a secret up until this point. You're not going to believe this one. When you die, you need to restart the whole fucking level again. There are no checkpoints or any way to save your game during a mission. 1983 called. They want their Nintendo Entertainment System back. Hell, you can even save on some NES games directly onto the cartridge. Who thought this was a good idea? This point is compounded further when you realise how easy it is to die in some levels due to some cheap nonsense. The game's difficulty is all over the place, going from manageable to frustrating, but I'm perfectly fine with this. If you're a regular on the channel, you'll know Souls-likes are my favourite genre. I enjoy a challenge. So I'm going to use Dark Souls 1 to evidence my point. Can you imagine clearing your way through Blighttown, lighting the bonfire at the bottom, and then taking on Quelaag? You mess up against Quelaag, but instead of being teleported to the bonfire, you're teleported right to the start of Blighttown, the bonfire is extinguished, fuck you. That is Concrete Jungle in a nutshell. Dying in this game is the biggest pain in the arse. And I know a few things about pain in the arse. Oh, wait, that came out wrong. Wait, can we record this one? Out of the 27 missions in the game, I've handpicked 3 of the most tedious ones to give you an idea of the gameplay. In Chapter 18, you need to fight a wave of enemies who can see through your cloak, making it pointless, and have guns that will kill you in seconds. There's barely any healing charges around, and you have 10 of these arseholes spamming you with laser rifles. Just as you kill the last one, and you're low on resources, a door opens, and they throw some more of these guys at you. This was like an uninvited guest turning up at your birthday party. No one invited more minions, yet here you are shooting me with laser rifles on my birthday. Let me introduce you to Chapter 20, which is one of the worst levels I've seen in quite some time. You need to eliminate all the enemies, but they have an entire squadron. There's barely any healing charges, and it's one of the longest missions in the game. There's also minions that shoot tracking missiles at you from the complete other side of the map. These missiles tracked better than Bear Grylls and will hit you from every angle. It's guaranteed this mission will piss you off due to how easy it is to get killed and having to do the whole mission again. After defeating even more minions, they throw an upgraded robot at you, and at this point I was lost for words. But I killed the robot, which prompted a cutscene. So I knew that was the end of the mission. Is what I would have said if the mission had finished, but no, it still wasn't over. You have to go and kill more enemies followed by a boss fight. Like, you couldn't make this up. After an hour or so, I finally completed this train wreck of a level. I had a few shots of Jack Daniels after to deal with the stress, which was a bad idea as I had work in less than an hour. In Chapter 24, you need to shut down a facility with xenomorphs being deployed to hunt you down. The aliens respawn infinitely and interrupt your climbing animation, which is tedious as you're platforming for most of the level. It's made even worse when you realise the map is like a maze. It's dark and you have infinitely spawning packs of aliens harassing you. You can defend yourself by placing mines, and granted these also respawn infinitely, but it just lacked... What's the word I'm looking for? Fun. That's it, fun, which it was not. Concrete Jungle's difficulty stems from its poor design choices, including no checkpoints, unbalanced missions and bad controls. This makes the gameplay tedious. If the devs had just added checkpoints into missions, this would have been a massive difference. But this isn't the conclusion of the video. We're not ready to wrap up yet. Up next, we'll discuss the game's story before delivering my final verdict. Hey guys, Senor Donut here, obviously. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you. Now back to the video. As I'll be uncovering the plot, there will be some spoilers. This will also be quite detailed, so I understand if you want to skip this section. If you don't want to be spoiled or you don't care about the story, then go to this timestamp in the video. This is your last chance. Okay, here we go. The story revolves around Scarface, a predator that was sent to Earth to hunt its favourite prey, humans. In 1930, Scarface begins its hunt in Niue City, but is heavily wounded and decides to retreat to its ship. Whilst on some rooftops, Scarface is caught in a blast and becomes trapped in some burning ruins. It initiates the ship's self-destruct sequence as its death is imminent.
This story of power, revenge, and unnatural love.
Predators, when facing death or defeat, will detonate their ships to maintain honor and prevent their technology falling into enemy hands. In the cutscene, the Predator doesn't even fall that far, and his fall is cushioned by some crates. He looks perfectly fine, and if you've seen any of the movies or comics, you know these guys don't give up easily. Like when a drug addict tries to sell you a magazine. We know what they're gonna do with the money, but we give it to them anyways, baby.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
The blast takes out a large part of the city but fails to kill the Predator. But hold on a second, that doesn't make sense. Scarface had already been wounded by humans, so he's not immune to taking damage. You can even see he's bleeding. He then falls from a building, which doesn't even seem that high, and decides he's taken so much damage that he needs to abort the mission and blow up the city, killing himself as well. So I'm to believe this nuclear blast that wipes out a city doesn't even leave a scratch on Scarface. If he can survive the blast, then why did he give up as soon as he fell from the building? His clanmates come to Earth to find out what happened, only to find Scarface alive. Because of his embarrassing defeat and exposing their race to humans, it's exiled to a remote planet. If only I could do the same thing with my wife when she complains I left the toilet seat up. Scarface is left for dead on the planet with alien creatures surrounding him. Going forward, I'm referring to Scarface as him. He's clearly a dude. 100 years later, the clan returns to the planet. They find Scarface stood on top of a mountain of alien skeletons and offer him the chance to restore honor to himself and the clan. To do this, he must return to New Way City, which is now referred to as Neonopolis. Humans are now using highly advanced alien technology, which they've reverse engineered from the weapons that Scarface left behind. He needs to take back his alien technology and kill any humans using it, as well as those responsible for manufacturing it. It becomes apparent that criminal gangs are the ones using Predator technology, so he starts hunting them down, flaying them, and displaying them in public to send a message. Scarface tracks down a supplier of the weapons, El Hongo, to a shipment facility where weapons are being stored. El Hongo, for whatever reason, is wearing a leopard print G-string. He's tracked down and killed, and is still wearing the G-string. He had at least 15 minutes to put his trousers back on before I got to him, so I can only assume he wanted to die in this attire. Anyways, we eavesdrop on a phone call where it's revealed that Borgia Industries are responsible for manufacturing and selling Predator technology. With this information, Scarface hitches a ride on a vehicle that's travelling to the Borgia depot. Yes, the driver didn't feel the weight of a 7-foot, 520-pound behemoth jumping on the back of a car. Scarface raids the depot, leaving it in ruins, but is overwhelmed and captured.
You've never hunted anything like us before.
You'd think that he'd use the self-destruct sequence again, but he must have forgot that was an option. It's revealed that Lucretia Borgia and her father Hunter are running Borgia Industries and distributing the Predator's Prometheus technology. While Scarface is unconscious, they pull down his trousers. No, excuse me. He has a flashback to the night he was defeated 100 years ago. He was hunting Bruno Borgia, a mob boss of New Way City. He's also the father of Hunter and grandmother to Lucretia. He tracks down Bruno to a museum, challenging and killing him. He then goes to a nearby church where Bruno's wife Isabella has just given birth to Hunter. Scarface waves Bruno's head around at his wife and child, which was slightly uncalled for and the ultimate dick move. Scarface eventually wakes up from his dream with his trousers on, only to find himself in restraints. He escapes from his shackles and frees other predators that have been captured. I don't know how they captured so many predators. These guys are supposed to be the ultimate warrior race, yet they get caught quicker than throwing a master ball at a Pidgey. Scarface then leaves the facility, but he doesn't bring any of the other predators along with him. Where did they go next? Did they have a ship to get home? We helped them escape and they fought with us, so why are they not returning the favour? Lucretia then dispatches 3 cybernetically enhanced predators to kill Scarface. At this point, there's more predators than humans. He kills all 3 of them and follows Lucretia back to the Borgia headquarters. Here it's revealed that the Borgia supercomputer mother is in fact Isabella.
This is fucking impossible. You can't still be alive after 100 years.
Now this is Bruno's wife, who Scarface waved his head to after killing him. You know, the ultimate dick move scene. She's been preserved in a tank for over 100 years and is linked to the city's computer network. She's basically been future-armoured, except she's got her whole body as opposed to just the head. Isabella then reveals to Lucretia what happened on that night 100 years ago that resulted in Scarface's failure. After performing the dick move, Scarface removes his helmet and shows just how bad his reactions are. Isabella slowly pulls out a gun, with Scarface watching the whole time, and shoots him in the face. He literally had 20 seconds to react to her pulling out the gun, so I'm convinced he wanted to get shot in the face to get a cool nickname. Isabella and Hunter get soaked in his blood, which causes humans to live unnaturally long lives. This explains how she survived so long in the preservation tank. This is the point where Scarface flees, leaving all his equipment behind, which is the starting point of the game. Mother, aka Isabella, reveals their ultimate plan, which is to clone an army of predators. Scarface enters the room to finish off Mother, but a pack of xenomorphs are unleashed to take him down.
Hello, Scarface. Long time no see. I suppose you think you've got me just where you want me now, but say hello to my little friends. Have fun together.
He offs the Xenos, sabotages the security system, and kills Mother. What happens next was baffling, but get a load of this. Hunter genetically manipulates his body to become a hybrid predator/human. He's confronted by his daughter Lucretia, who he pushes out of the way, which instantly kills her? Predators are intelligent, but Hunter seems to have regressed into some form of predator caveman. This prompts the final battle, which takes place upon the roof of the building. Hunter is killed and his blood is used to paint Scarface's clan symbol on a statue of Bruno Borgia. This is 2 times that Scarface has disrespected the heads of the Borgia family, in case you weren't counting. Scarface is picked up by his clan, where they all kiss and make up. Okay, that last part probably didn't happen, but we didn't see the whole spaceship journey, so I don't know. If you watch the closing credits to the end, you'll be rewarded with an epilogue. A man named Wayland buys out Borgia Industries, turning Lucretia into the new Mother supercomputer.
Apparently, they call it Mother.
Yes, this is Wayland Industries, and yes, they clearly planned on making a sequel. Concrete Jungle's story suffered from a few plot holes, but apart from that, it was interesting. If they turn this into a movie with the right director and cast, this would be a good watch. The story isn't done justice by some of the cutscenes, voice work, and lack of continuity between missions. Grant Morrison wrote the game's story, who's an award-winning publisher for DC Comics as well as Marvel. It's just a shame that the gameplay was unable to match its cool plot. We're coming to the end of the video, and I have a question that needs to be answered, which is of course, how bad was Predator Concrete Jungle actually? The gameplay mechanics were implemented poorly. It suffers from a bad control scheme, tedious levels due to a lack of checkpoints, and combat that leaves a lot to be desired. The best aspect of Concrete Jungle was the story, but this was watered down by bad cutscenes. There seemed to be a lack of continuity in between missions, as you just spawn in at a different location, be presented with a cutscene that fails to fill in the gaps. I didn't enjoy this playthrough, and it was a chore getting to the final credits. The few positive aspects Concrete Jungle has are completely overshadowed by the negatives. So, to answer the question, yes, Predator Concrete Jungle was pretty bad. Actually. Apologies for not uploading in over a month, but I am working on another video in this new series. Thanks to all my current subscribers and a warm welcome to any new ones. I'm also taking recommendations for games to cover from the 6th generation. If there's a game you'd like to see in the series, then please let me know in the comments. Thanks again, and I'll see you all soon for the next upload.
See, baby. Holy shit! What did I smoke?